we see that there are 4 members. So it's actually counting them. And that's how you get the ability to build a variable as you're stepping through it in Sax. Because of these functions here, you need to have the global scope to be able to add to that variable. But now what we want to do is we want to actually collect an array, a collection of member arrays, as we did in the XML Reader lecture, so that we have all of the information and not just how many members. And that's a little trickier in Sax than in XML Reader. So let's get our goal here. We don't want to do the number of members anymore. We want to, after we're done, we want to say, display the results here. And then, so members, let's define it here as members. Okay, so we're going to have global members is going to be a collection of member arrays, and then we'll have our for each loop here, and we'll just run through it as we always do here. Okay, and let's just echo out all of the information that we've collected. Okay, and it's first name, last name, score, and after that let's put a horizontal line. So here we have score, and here we have last name, and here we have score as well. So that's our goal. Now how are we going to do it? We need to define some globals up here. Globals, and current index is 1. That's going to be the number of the current member array that we're building. Then we have current field, and that's going to be, for instance, like first name, last name, field, right? And then we want the array itself, globals, or the collection itself, members equals array. So now in our start function, whenever we start an element, if we're here, or if we're here, or if we're here, we need to find out which one we're on. That's why we have a switch statement here. And now basically if we're on member, we want to create an empty array to fill as we continue on and go to first name, last name, and score. So here you get the feeling that you're in the parts warehouse with the flashlight. We're only looking at member now, but we have to plan for what we're going to be looking at as we continue on. So let's say here member equals, and that's going to be an array, first name. It's going to have a value of nothing to start out with. Last name, and it's going to have a value of nothing to start out with. And score, and it's going to have a value of nothing to start out with. So, and we need to, here at the beginning, add this member array to our collection that we defined up here, and that we're going to display after we get done with all of this, after we go through our XML file. So that just is simply add the member. Now, what if we're on first name? Let's copy this. If we're on first name, well, then we don't need to do that. We just need to change the current field name. To first name. Why, you say? Well, we're at the element first name, and we don't have any information yet. We're here. The next step is going to be here. That is, we're here in start, but when we get here, we're not in start anymore. We're in CData, and that's what we have to program next. So, in CData, we need to pick up this information that we got here. For instance, current index we need, and that's just going to be globals current index. What is the current index at first name? It's still 0. Now we also need current field. What is current field? Well, we just went through first name, and we were just on starting at the element first name, and we defined the current field as first name. So current field is first name. Index is 0. Current field is first name. Now we're on data, so our data is, for instance, Jim. So we say if trim data is not nothing, then save Jim, basically, in this collection, in this current index, which is 0, right? And inside that is this one right here that we just added when we were at the member. So it's already existing for us. And now we say current field equals data. So, we now added Jim in an array inside an array, in the array members, in the array member, inside the array members. So now what should we do when we go on now and get here to the end of the element? Well, we're going to be in here, in ended. And here we need to do another switch, basically, and say name. Okay, that's fine. And case member. If we're at the end of a member, we have to do something. What is it that we have to do? Well, we don't want our next, we don't want our next index to be 0, otherwise it would just overwrite our first one, so we need to increment that. Current index plus plus, plus plus. Save, super, we don't need. So, and basically we are now done. We've gone through first name and we've added it to the array. Let's just do the same with the others. Last name equals last name and score. We can just copy this. So score large equals score. Okay. And that's it. That's all we need to do. We've successfully built up this array here, and we're going to display it. Let's take a look. And we only get the last one. It does have 4, but it only shows the last one. Why is that? Let's debug. Okay, up here. We need to add to the collection. We need to add the member to this collection. So let's save that and run it again. And there we have all of our information in an array. After some major complexity in SACS, you can get an array out using global variables so that you can, for instance, go through a very large XML file looking for certain pieces of information and building up an array so that when you're finished, you have that array and then you can process it, for instance, or save it to a database or display it and that kind of thing. Again, if you just need to display information from an XML file, you're much better using simple XML, but you now know how to use SACS to run through large files if you need to.